Where is the ordinance? Are we supposed to know the ordinance? Where is it for us to read it? Like
it's online, it's on the city website.
So you're telling me it's a city ordinance saying we can't drive down this road just to drive around, just to go by?
This is business property. They're all closed. You cannot be back here.
You cannot be back here. That is Sergeant Garcia with the Clute, Texas Police Department harassing Edmund Baker Jr. Baker has been a resident here for over a decade and is a well-known professional saxophonist.
I'm just driving my car coming from a gig in Houston.
A few years ago, Baker ran for municipal court judge. And in a county where all the leaders are white, from the sheriff to the county judge, the district attorney, county commissioners, constables, and state representatives, Baker apparently crossed some sort of line. He says he has been harassed repeatedly. And in this July 2022 incident, the violation seems to be driving while black.
Sergeant Garcia is telling me it's the city, on the city website of Clute, it says that I can't be down this road right here where Mickles Auto is, where he does the detailing. He says the city ordinance that say I can't be there, even though there's nothing posted saying I can't be here. There's nothing.
There is nothing posted, and there's nothing on the city website. Baker and his son, who just returned from 2 years of active duty military, drove past Mickles Auto Detailing to check if their car was finished and parked outside.
So my dad, he just gave his car earlier today. He's getting a job. Ola Mickle is the guy who does detailing. He's doing a ceramic wrap job on his car. It's like
Baker's son tries to explain this to the police.
We went right there to that back garage area and then just turned around because we were just seeing to make sure that it was out. It wasn't outside getting all weathered, the vehicle. Yeah, but once we saw that all, because if you go back there, there's no cars. They're all in the garage. So like, okay, cool, it's fine.
I understand.
Yes, sir.
But the thing is, there's close businesses over here, and we get a lot of break-ins.
A small town with a population of 12,000 is getting a lot of break-ins. Well, after about 15 minutes of Baker and his son being cooperative, polite, and voluntarily providing IDs and other information, the police finally said the stop was over.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, y'all have a good night.
We were being detained?
Yeah, y'all were detained.
For what? Like, for what?
I've already explained that. Now you're free to go.
All right, thank you, Officer Garcia.
Sergeant Garcia.
Officer.
Sergeant.
Sergeant Garcia, he says. And by the way, Sergeant Garcia had earlier opened his cruiser door, smacking Baker's car door.
Hopefully there's no scratch on the door.
Yeah, hopefully you didn't ding my car up.
I already made sure there's no damage to your vehicle.
Well, I'm going to look when I get home. Thank you.
Okay.
So it's an insult to call you an officer now? It's an insult. I just say, thank you, officer, and you say, it's sergeant.
I'm a sergeant.
Okay.
You're on private property.
So now, okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Night.
Good night.
After the police left, Edmund Baker kept recording while he and his son analyzed what had just
They're
happened.
like,
Yeah.
Let me see. Two African-American men dressed up nice.
Yeah.
We are in a nice Lexus luxurious car.
Everybody knows.
And the first thing he says, is, we've had people breaking and entering.
Yeah.
So do we look like we're trying to go in there and rob anything with a nice car and dressed up like this?
Yeah. They minds are so programmed. You know, I could have just went to jail and say, man, you're not getting my license. And let him take me to jail so I can sue or something. But that's what I'm saying. That they look for problems. They look for trouble. They are the trouble. Before we can even just spin around and make a U-turn to come out of that little area we was in, he was already on us with backup. For what? Then they wonder why people talk about the cops like they do. And then when I say, okay, thank you, officer, he say, I'm sergeant. Like that really means something. That don't mean jack to me. I'm not a police officer. I'm not a deputy, so his rank don't matter to me. I don't give a crap what he is. I'm sergeant. Sergeant Butthole. That's what you was. I hope you watching this right now, Sergeant Butthole. You can stop it there.
Kudos to Edmund Baker Jr. and his son for keeping their sense of humor. They maintained their dignity even as the Clute police were trying to intimidate and harass them. And again, Baker says the police have been dumping this crap on him for years, ever since he had the audacity to complain about a local sheriff and then run for office himself. Well, this stop was clearly racial profiling, even if the Clute police were not initially targeting Baker. And once the cops saw Baker and his unique EB Sachs license plate, one imagines the police arrogance and attitude were no accident. Thankfully, the Bakers were videotaping the exchange, perhaps limiting what the police might say or do. In any case, every day across the United States, there are law enforcement officers who seem more interested in putting minorities down than in standing up for constitutional rights. And God forbid a minority should speak up or criticize police, even though such criticism is protected speech for all of us. The reality is that even when somebody is polite and respectful to police, as Edmund Baker Jr. and his son were, there can still be problems. Authorities in Clute, Texas are not saying much about any of this or the Baker's complaint, but take it from Edmund Baker Jr., a professional saxophonist. Even if you are well-dressed, drive a nice car, and have family in the U.S. military, racism still exists. So protect yourself and keep those cameras rolling. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.